A lot of you know me as Ocean. I'm a V3 rank in Royalq. As usual, I am your host for today. I also have my co-host here, Leader Judge. Leader Judge is gonna be taking us on today's topic. So please, members, we are just going to be doing a brief introduction, very brief introduction, because we have a prospect. We're going to be doing a very brief introduction what this robot can do, and then we'll go into today's topic. Please, members, after the brief introduction, we get into today's topic. Don't be in a haste to run away. All right. You're all welcome, guys. Leader Judge, please take it from here. Leader Judge is a V4 rank in Royalq, and he'll be taking us on today's topic as well as the introduction. Good evening, Leader Judge, and welcome.
Hello, good evening. You're all welcome to today's Zoom. So I'm so happy for the season, and I'm so happy that I'm in this business at this point in time in the cryptocurrency season. It has been a wonderful ride since Bitcoin started its uptrend movement in the crypto space. It's what we have been waiting for since 2021. We experienced it. Okay, so the business, if you are joining us for today for the first time, the business is about an artificial intelligence robot that was designed by Royalq. We have been using this robot since 2021. It trades the cryptocurrency in the spot markets, meaning that there's no loss. We don't experience any loss in the business. We only experience what we call the floating loss and the floating profit. It means that in the business, there is no timeline for a trade to be executed. We only experience that floating loss and floating profit, which means the time it will take the robot to start a trade and to end the trade. That is, between the starting and the ending, we encounter floating loss or floating profits. So that is what the business entails: trading cryptocurrencies, buying them low, selling them at a higher price. But cryptocurrencies, they are very volatile in nature. So you can buy them now and they start going down. So what the robot will do is that as the coins starts going down in prices, in the value of the coin starts going down, the robot will continue buying more. The robot will continue buying more quantity of the coin. You understand? So we don't lose. It just buy more quantity at a cheaper price. Remember, the coin is reducing in value. So the robot will be buying more quantity at a cheaper price as the coin is going down. So that when the coin starts coming up, the robot will start selling those coins he bought at a lower price. Once there's any little retracement upward, once there's any little uptrend movement, the robot will start selling those quantity it bought at a lower price, and you start making profit. Even when your trade is experiencing floating loss, you'll be gaining some small profits. The business is just like you. It's just like when you want to start a provision store business. Just the same thing. Your provision store business, you can use 2 million to start it, and a daily profit might just be 5,000, 10,000 profit for a business you started with 2 million. So the mindset you have when starting a provision store, that yes, you want to add another source of income. You want to have another source of income. You are not putting the 2 million today so that month end you will see back your 2 million and your profits. No. So it's the same mindset you should carry in, the same mindset you will have when you want to start up a provision store. It's the same mindset you have when you want to start this Royalq business, because you might start with $200, $100, $300, $400, and the robot might be using it to trade for more than 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. But the robot will be giving you those stop profits until you might start a trade now, and in few seconds, the trade has delivered, depending on the movement of the coin, the movement of the crypto. You can start a trade now, and the trade might last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But in the process of you waiting, the robot will still be giving you the margin calls profit, the sub-beam profit. You understand? So Royalq is an artificial intelligence robot that helps us to trade cryptocurrencies in the spot market where we don't experience any loss of assets. We only experience floating profit and floating loss, which are not real loss or real profit until the robot executes a trade in profit, because that is the only program the robot has. That is the only way the robot has been programmed to only sell in profit. So if the currency is just going down, the robot will just be doing buy. It will be buying margin calls, buying at different reduced price. So that when the robot starts point, if the coins are going down, it cannot sell, because the robot is not programmed to sell in loss. But once it starts going down, the robot is buying those margin calls at different reduced price, and the coin starts coming up again, the robot will start selling at different increased price, and you'll be making profits even when your capital is inside the trade. So that is what we experience on this business. And to start it, you need at least the $120 you use to activate, to rent the robot to work for you 247 for 1 year, whether your phone is off, whether you don't have data, whether you don't have time to check, the robot works for you 247. If you are using the cycle mode trading, period trading, means that the robot should continue trading a coin for you, cycle. So the robot can continue trading for you for 247 every day for 365 days. You rent it with $120. You make full payment. We don't pay instrumentally. You make full payment of the 120. You understand? Then we have what we call the gas fees. This robot you are renting now for 1 year is just like you when you buy a car. You understand? You need fuel. The car needs fuel for it to drive well. But if you buy this fuel and put in your car, if you don't drive it, your fuel remains with you. So in the business, after you must have rented the robot with 120 for the robot to start trading, you need gas fees. It can be as little as $10, $20, $30, $100, $200, depending on your capital. If you want to travel far, just like if I want to drive to the next street now, I can put fuel 5,000 and I drive. But if I want to travel from here to east, I know I will go and fill my tank. That is 60, 70,000 for the tank. So you see, if you are expecting profit of $1,000, you know that you keep like 200 as fuel fee. That 200 is still your money. If the robot does not make you profit, that 200 will not reduce. It will still be intact. The 200 that is your money, that is gas fees, will only reduce when you start driving the car, when the robot starts making profits for you. So it's reducing because the robot is making the profit times 5 for you. That is 100% of the profit goes to you because it's already in your exchange. So the robot will be deducting some fractions from your gas fees. So if you are starting with like $100 as your trade capital, you can have gas fees of 20, 10, 15. But the part is that the truth is that for you to take note is that your gas fees must not go lower than $2. It must not go lower than $2. Okay? So that is that 120, 20. Then you need the product trading capital that you keep in your exchange. Some people make mistakes sending all their trading capital to the robot. Please, we don't give Royalq our money. We don't give Royalq our trading capital. Some places are trading with $20,000. Some are trading with $50,000. Some are trading with $10,000. The money, their trading capital stays with them in their exchange. Be it Binance, Obi, KuCoin, Coinbase, Bybit, their money stays securely in their exchange, where only them have access to it. So we just bind the robot to these our exchanges, and we give the robot just two permissions. The robot can never withdraw your money. We only give the robot just two permissions. Permission number one is for the robot to be able to see the market. Remember, the robot is working for you 24/7. So the robot should be able to see the market 24/7 to know if a coin is increasing or reducing, to monitor the movement of coins. So that is the first permission we give to the robot when we do the API linking of the robot app to your exchange. The permission number two is for the robot to be able to trade in the spot market. I've explained what spot means. So the permission number two is for the robot to be able to trade in the spot market. That is the second. And the two permissions we give the robot to trade for us. Okay? So which other thing I've missed? In the business, this is the trading now. The robot keeps your profit in your exchange. So your profit stays with you, your capital stays with you. There's nothing like withdrawal. As far as you are trading, you're a trader, you don't withdraw from Royalq because your capital is not in the Royalq. Your profits, your trade profits is also not in Royalq. So there's nothing like Royalq. So two things I've mentioned that Royalq is standing out from what we have done in the past. Number one, a Ponzi scheme will ask you to buy package to put your money in their system. Number two, a Ponzi scheme you, if your robot trades today and you make $500,
Hi
okay,
everyone, is it my network or with our judges?
okay, it's like, can you hear me?
Can hear you now. We
Okay,
lost
so
you again.
if the robot makes profits for you, the profit stays with you in your exchange. Immediately, you can sell the profits. So nothing like withdrawal. Nothing like withdrawal. So these are the key things why Royalq stands. We are confident talking about Royalq every day because of these features. It stands out. You don't place withdrawal. You don't need anybody's permission to withdraw. If your robot makes $10 for you today, you go to your exchange and you sell. You sell it to Naira. So you don't need anybody's permission. You don't need to withdraw from Royalq. No. Your robots, your profits, your capital, everything stays with you. The robot is just linked with API with two permissions. Permission number one, for the robot to see the market. Permission number two, for the robot to trade in spot markets where we don't have loss of assets. So that is about the trading. The robot has some functions that made it an artificial intelligent robot to help us trade the crypto market well and make good profits for us. Okay, so that one is about the trading aspect. Now, in the business, there will come a time where crypto will come down. Maybe market will retrace after going up. Market will retrace by like 30%. Market will retrace like 40%. Let's say market will retrace like 20%, but your capital you are using to trade is small. It could not cover the 20% dip. Remember, you must have heard buying the dip, buying the dip. Buying the dip means the coins you are trading has fallen and you want to take advantage of that low price. So you buy it at a low price. But what happens? Your robot can only afford, because of your capital is small, your robot can cover 10%. But the coins are falling down to 20%. So your robot will just wait, relax. The robot will relax until the coin comes back to the percentage your robot and your capital could cover. The robot will now continue. So some persons might say, no, I don't like it. Other people are making profit. Me, I want to make profit. So if you cannot wait and be patient, then you will be you will be asked to introduce new to increase your capital, your trading capital. So when you increase your trading capital, automatically you will cover more dip, more percentage drop. When the coin is dropping in value, you cover more percentage. So that even if the coin drops by 20% and you are able to cover 20%, the robot will still be doing buying and selling and you'll be making profit. So in the business, you might be asked at some point to, when you stop making profit, you'll be asked to add more capital. You might not have that money to add. You might not have that money. So Royalq created a network, maybe team building program, because believe you me, there's no business that will function without the marketing department. You see banks. If you go to bank early, you see marketers going out to get new customers for the bank. There's no business that will flourish without the marketing aspect. So in Royalq now created this program that, okay, if you're able to register someone, anybody you register, Royalq gives.
The judge, your network. Really, the judge. I believe network threw him out. He's gonna come back. The judge, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you. Your network is bad.
It's like it wants to rain. The weather is terrible. Okay, so let's continue. I've already rounded up. So that is the tool. That one is additional. If you feel like you need more profit, more rewards, you can participate in. And believe you me, that aspect, that aspect is like you activating an oil well. If your capital is not enough, is not good enough to make good profit, you can start with $100. $100 can give you maybe $6 in a week, $10 in a week. Royalty promises 10 to 30% of your capital in a month. You understand? But you might not like those small, small things because of your capital. So you might need to increase your capital. So if you have money to increase your capital, fine. But if you can introduce the business to someone and you get rewards, you can use your rewards to increase your capital. So I don't know if we have any question. We'll go into the topic of today. You're sharing.
Thanks so much, Leader George. Do we have any question for the non-activated members? That's for the people that do not have a robot. Please, do you have any question? You can put it on the chat box or use the reaction. I'll ask you to unmute. Do we have any question? This is for the people that do not have a robot. There's something that you still need to understand. There's something that is not clear and you want to understand it. Please use the chat button and ask your question, or you can use the reaction button. All right, Leader George, please go ahead with today's topic.
Today's topic, we'll be talking about the Bullrun settings. Ha! The Bullrun settings. This season is kind of what we're expecting. We're expecting it to start maybe in December. We're expecting it to start maybe early January of 2025, because 2025 should be what we are expecting that should happen in 2025 have started happening immediately after the US election. So we don't even we don't know, but we are praying that history, the charts should follow suit, and 2025 should be where we see massive pumping more than what we are seeing now. Okay. So people have been saying the settings, will they carry their bear season settings and also enter the bull season? Because we have made them to understand that the bull season is where you can comfortably take 5%, 10%, and it will deliver faster. Okay. So today's class will practical. I will do now. It's almost after 9. So is the OBM on the Zoom? Okay, the OBM is not on the Zoom. Okay.
No, it's not.
So I'll do for $100. Yeah, I think I'll do for 200, maybe 2 example. $100 and maybe $300. So we'll go straight. But I'll share my screen, then we'll go straight to the trade settings for the bull season. But please and please, please and please, even as we are changing to these settings for the bull season, we should try to cover at least 20 to 30%. 20 to 30%. We saw what happened some days ago, after Bitcoin shoots 84, 85, 86, 87, and it retraced to 85. Other altcoins went down. Altcoins went down to, some went down to 10%, minus 10%, some went down to minus 15. So even as much as we are trying to make more profit in the bull season, we should also reserve some for any market correction, because market correction will always happen. When there is a massive pump like this, after some time, markets will correct. It's correcting, it's falling in value after increasing in value, so that new investors can come in. into the system. So that is how crypto is being wired. If it goes up, it comes down. If it comes down, it goes up. So that is how the prices do change. So if you are using $100, you'll be considering, before we used 15%, 15% of your first buy of your capital. Maybe you want to use $100 to trade. Before we use 15%, which is $15. Then we spread the remaining 85% to margin calls. So now we are entering the bull season. So most coins will not form more than, let's say that, let's just cover 20 to 30, maybe 30, 20 to 30%. 20 to 30%. So I'll share my screen. We'll go through the settings together. So can you see my screen? So let's say this the settings. I want to save the settings for $100. I'll save my settings for $100 with capital. Okay, let's say to cover 30%. This one is for 100 over 30%. Okay, so we are now saying that since it's bull season, we should consider the first buy amount, because coins will be doing more of the first buy, selling. If you are trading on cycle, one shot, you see that maybe the first buy that is always buying and selling. So in case you have $100 to trade, if your first buy is 15 and the coin is doing well, you only be getting that take profit percentage on the 15 alone, and not on the $100. You just be getting on the 15. So you see that the profit will be small. Okay. You now say, okay, since it's the bull season, let's consider a double. Since we are using 15 for this 100 trade capital, let's use 30%, which is $30. Okay, so we are using 30%. In the bear season, we are using 15, and we spread the remaining 85% for margin calls. But the bull season, since we want to cover just 20 to 30, maybe let's say, because of the capital is small. So it's two things are involved. If you want to cover 30, you know that you will space your margin call drop percentage. You space it well, because this $100 capital, if you remove $30 as first buy, it will remain 70. That 70, if we divide it by 10, 10 is, if we divide it 70 divided by 10, we'll be getting 7. So the margin call limit is already 7. You understand? We got 7, the margin call limit by the remaining money you want to use to buy margin calls, which is 100 minus 30, the first buy. It's $70. We now divided $70 by how much dollars we wish for the robots to use to be buying the margin calls. So we now use $10.5. So we now use just 10. So 70 divided by 10 will get 7. So that is how we got the margin call limit. Okay. So the open position double, we leave it closed. The AI margin calls, we leave it closed. Okay. We are in the bull season, so AI margin calls might not be functioning well now. So coins should just be going up. Okay. So the next thing is the take profit ratio. Signals used to come with them, but for me, I always like going with 1%, so that I can escape the market very fast before others. So the whole position take profit ratio, I use 1%. So the whole position take profit callback, for me, I do 0.15. So even if the coins wants to drop, at least it will not drop more from my money. So I'm doing it so that once it triggers a sell, it will sell within some few seconds. Okay, so we are using 0.15. The buy, me, I also like changing my own buy to 1.5. Okay, so the strategy, we'll still enter the margin configurations. So that is where we'll do more of the calculation. But all you know that the first buy, we have increased it to 30% of the capital. 30% of the capital you want to use to trade this coin. Okay, so 30% will go into the first buy amount. Then the remaining 70%, you divide it either by $10, by 10.5, by 15, 20, 30, 40. These are the dollars the robot will use to buy each of the margin at a reduced price. As the coins is reduced, it will be buying them. So we are setting 7 points where the robot should buy margin calls, starting from margin 1 to margin 7. Okay, so let's enter the okay, before we enter the margin configuration to set up the $70 that is remaining, let's talk about the strategy period. When I was giving introduction, I mentioned the strategy period that it can be cycle, it can be cycle, it can be one shot. So cycle means, robot, I'm busy today, oh, just and this coin is down, just continue trading for me on cycle. So if he buys, he sells, it will buy again, sell, buys again, buys again, buys again, sell, sell, sell. So that is it for the cycle. But one shot means that once I start this trade and the trade sell, once there is a sell from the normal trade, eh? Once there is a sell, the robot will stop trading that coin. The robot will stop trading if your strategy period is one shot. The robot will stop trading it. But if it's cycle, the robot, after it sells, make profit, it will buy it again and continue on its cycle. So let's enter margin. That is all for here. Let's enter margin configuration. So this is the main thing. We want to cover 30% and we have only 7 margin calls. So what we do to get the margin call drop, since we want to cover 30, we will do 30 in a calculator, we'll do 30 divided by the number of margin calls we have, 7. So each drop will be 4.2. We are going to change all here to 4.2. Let me repeat myself again. The drop we want to cover, if a coin is reducing in value, dropping, crashing, we want to cover 30% down. 30%. We want our robot to be buying that coin that is reducing as the coin is going down. So this our setting will cover up to 30%. The robot will buy 7 at 7 points. Imagine call, first call 1, first call, second call, third call to 7th call. So how we got the 4.2 we want to put is that we are doing this our settings so that it can cover 30% in case in the bullrun there is a retracement. Okay, remember that if you are using 200, that your first buy will be 60. So even if the robot wants to be giving you only first buy, 1% on 60 is still big money. At least if the robot execute that trade more than 3 times, you make good profit for that day. Okay, so we got 4.2 because we want to cover 30. We want to cover 30 reduction, 30% reduction. So we'll now do 30 divided by, and the margin, the number of margin calls is 7. You understand? So we'll do 30 divided by 7. We now got 4.2. So it's 4.2 we put here. So you see, if we sum up all the 4.2, before the robot will get to the seventh core, it means that that coin must have reduced by 30%. Okay, so this is it. 4.2, 4.2. That is for the margin call drop percentage. Okay, so if the coin, once you start this trade and the coin drops by 4.2%, the robot will buy your first margin calls. So after that one, if the coin drops again to another 4.2, the robot will buy the second margin calls. Okay, so we have handled the margin call drop. So we'll now go to the right answer, which is the multiple buy-in ratio. So remember, we say we want to use 10. We have already calculated $10 to buy each margin. So to get the times, you go to your calculator. You will now do the money you want the robot to use to buy, which is $10. You will now do $10 divided by your first buy-in amount. You understand? So that first buy-in amount has everything to do with the margin buy-in ratio. You understand? So we'll now do 10. We want to use $10 to buy each of these 7 margin calls because what we reserve is $70 for margin calls. So we'll do 10 divided by our first buy, which is $30. So we'll get 0.33. So I'm going to put 0.33, 0.33, 0.33, 0.33. Okay, so 0.33. So let me explain here. If the robot, once you start the trade, the robot will use $30 to buy the trade first out of your $100 capital. The robot will only use $30 because that is your first buy amount. Now, once you start the trade and the trade goes up immediately and give you this take profit, since you're in the bull run, you can easily take 5% if you can wait for a coin. And that 5% might be delivered in 4 hours, 8 hours. If you can wait, if you cannot wait, you can take 1%, 2%, 3%. Okay, let's just use 3%. Okay. So what this means that once you start this trade, the robot will use $30 first to buy the trade and it will start. It will reserve that $70 for you. Okay. So if the coin pumps immediately to 3%, the robot will calculate 3% of this first buy, which is 30. So let's do 3%. Let's do 3% of $30. So you get 0.9 as profit for just that one single sell. Okay. So but if the coin do not go up and it starts coming down, when it gets to, so let me enter margin configuration. When it gets to the 4.2%, if it's reducing, once it gets to 4.2%, it will trigger a buy. The robot will now activate the first core. The robot will now do 0.33, 0.33 times your first buy amount. So you can see 0.33 times first buy amount, which is 30. So the robot will now use 9.9 to buy. The robot will now use 9.9. But if you can add more money so that you can make sure that the robot you start using from $10 because some trades will not allow this 9.9. Okay, so this is automatically how you use your 30% profit to start the trade. Why you reserve 70% for margin calls that should cover at least 30%, 20 to 30%. Okay? So the main thing in the Bullrun is this first buy amount. So if you are not getting anything today, get this one right. The main thing is the first buying amount in a Bullrun season. Because if the robot did not go down, if the coins did not go down, okay? If the coins did not go down, it's only your first buy the robot will be selling and be making that your take profit percent on the first buy. So you might have $100 trade capital, but your robot is only giving you profit on your first buy amount. So that is why we increase the first buy, you understand, to 30%. Why we use 70% to cover margin costs that can cover at least 20 to 30. Okay, so these ones are for new persons. But if you have an existing trade, maybe the traders is between 3%, is between margin 3, margin 4, margin 5. But you have set that trade to margin 30. You are using the margin call limit is 30. But since the bull run started, that trade has not done more than 10 to 20%. You can re-edit your settings, edit your first buy amount, give it the 30%. Your trade can be going on and you can restructure here. Since your robot is not going between margin 3 to margin 12 and you set margin 30, you can now reduce it to, okay, let me reduce it to margin 20. That is 1 to 20. Let me use margin call limit 20. Since my robot is not, since that setting was to cover 50%, but you want to increase your first buy amount so that your profit will improve. Okay? So you will now reduce your margin call limit from 30 or from 50 to 30 to 25. Then you edit this thing, go to your margin configuration and do the necessary changes in the margin call drop and the multiple buying ratio. So this is it. So even if you are trading with 200, 300, all you have to do is just get the 30% of it for a trade. Put it as your first buy. The remaining money, use it and calculate the margin cost to cover at least 30%. So that if the Bullrun is going, you'll be getting that your profit on a higher amount, which is 30% of your capital. You'll be getting the profit so that anytime there's a crash, the robot will engage the other 70 through margin calls, and you will also be making profit through margin calls. So that is it. So I don't know if anybody has any question. Please use the chat or you unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. If you have questions, please ask our questions. And you can unmute yourself and ask your question. These questions can come in. Let's round up.
I think we have a question. Akinsoya Mobolaji, Akinsoya Mobolaji, and just be introduced into the platform. I enjoyed the Monday meeting and even today so far. I appreciate Leader George and others for their excellent presentation. We appreciate you too for attending to get the knowledge. You're welcome. Olu Fisayo Joseph Oted Tola said 1005 Bullrun settings on 3 coins. So I believe the 3 coins would be $500 is the capital for each of the coins. So take 30% of the 500 as your first buy. The remaining money, use it and structure your margin cost to cover at least 20 to 30%, and you have your Bullrun settings. Okay, for the cycle, maybe if the coin is just going up, it's not coming down, you are okay, at least 30%. will give you good profit. Now, if the coin decide to crash, the robots will be able to trade and give you some profit with that your margin calls. That 70% you use for margin calls, the robots will still be giving you profit from there. So thank you. Hello, Shari.
Thank you so much. Do we have any question? Please, you can use the chat box and unmute yourself. Please ask your question. Okay. So I believe we do not have any other question. If you are new here, you do not have an activated robot, please get back to the person who invited you to the Zoom. They will guide you on how to activate your robot. And also our Zoom days and our time, Mondays and Thursdays, 8:30 p.m. Nigerian time. We're always here. Please try as much as possible to attend Zoom meetings. If you miss them for anything, the recordings are up on our YouTube channel. Always catch up on them. If there are things you do not understand, you can also rewatch the Zoom recordings. All right. Good night, everybody, and have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Florence.